What's up, guys?
What's up? Welcome to another version of Court Vision, New Year's Eve edition.
Yes.
Ooh, and Tavares Crittenton's birthday
Yes.
edition.
Happy birthday, Javaris Crittenton.
Ooh, creepy.
We don't have enough Javaris Crittentons in the league these
We
days.
don't.
Tomorrow is Larry Nance's birthday.
Oh, Larry Nance Jr.?
Junior.
Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Because, they play today. But. So that's something we kind of missed the boat on yesterday. It was LeBron's birthday yesterday. Usually we do actually look at that.
Yeah, we
Because
do.
there are some players that it affects.
Mhm.
LeBron yesterday, whatever. He put up 48 fantasy points and he was like 10-5. So it's not that big of a deal.
Mhm.
So, yeah, yesterday we didn't do so hot yesterday. I mean, we had a lot of good picks, if you're following our show and going along with it, but then we missed the boat on our top play of the day, which Doncic just shit the bed.
Yeah, it was. And what are you gonna do? You expect one guy on the day to go over 60 fantasy points, and he has 20 some.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there were so many changes, the lineups and stuff yesterday. Again, it was another day where we were working, and all these guys just start changing shit on us. And this guy's playing, this guy's not, this guy's playing, this guy's not.
Mm.
Very dramatic.
Tatum,
Mhm.
in out, Aldridge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ones.
So our lineups were kind of changing while we're on the go, and Doncic was the one like stagnant piece of all the lineups, and
Yeah,
so. But we did have Jaylen Brown.
we did.
We didn't give that pick to you guys because at the time we thought Tatum was playing, but
Right.
I think we might have mentioned it in the against the spread video. Whatever.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Anyway, we had a lot of good plays, but yeah, Doncic kind of cost us the day, so whatever. Moving on to today. This is 12/31, 20, almost 2021. Time for the see you next year jokes.
Oh yeah.
Love that. That's always funny.
If someone says that to me today while we're working, I'm just gonna punch him in the face.
Right in the face.
Yeah.
Right in the face.
Maybe even in the balls if they have balls.
Yeah, I'll punch them in their girl balls.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. We don't hit women
Yeah.
unless they have balls.
Yeah.
Okay. So for point guards today, today's a very interesting day. So, your lineups, you could have like anything. You could use all your money. You could have like $3,000 left or more. Like it's a very weird day. You want to play the matchups today.
Yeah. Definitely a big matchup day.
So, first point guard I have written down for yes is Fox, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox too. I think it's a good matchup. John Wall hasn't played basketball, like legitimate, meaningful basketball in like 2 years. So I love the Fox play, especially at 7.9. I'm going to take Fox at 7,900 almost any time, really.
Right.
And now you're talking going against the Houston team who is going to try to start putting all this together.
Yeah.
I definitely like the Fox play.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a Kentucky point guard matchup. A little added motivation there. Um, could be interesting. I mean, I think Fox being the young buck there, he's going to go out there and he's one of the fastest players in the NBA, and he's going up against a guy who hasn't played, like you said, meaningful basketball in 2 years, and he's coming off a foot injury. So
Exactly.
it's going to be interesting. While I don't think Wall's necessarily going to have a terrible game, I also don't think he can cover Fox that well.
Same here.
The first point guard on the board today is Kyle Lowry, which 8,000 is a fine price for Kyle Lowry, but we're not going to go that route. You'll see in our against the spread picks today, but yeah, that game should be a massacre.
That's what we were thinking on that. I like Lowry, but I mean that matchup for Lowry, you would think he should be the best point guard on the board, but the game's probably going to be a blowout. Lowry might only play a half, so I'm not going to.
And he's not the kind of like pad his stats before he goes out either.
No.
So this is kind of a cruise control game for him. Next, after Fox at 7,300, you got CP3. I don't like the matchup today against Conley.
No, I don't. I tried not to really ever go up against Mike Conley because he's one of the best defensive point guards in our time. So I'm
They're
not going
really
to take.
similar. I was thinking about that today. They're really similar players.
They are really similar players. I don't like either one of them today going up against each
Right.
other. It'd be a fun matchup to watch, but I'm not going to put either of them in my fantasy lineup.
Same here. So yeah, Mike Conley 6,300 is also falling into our no category. Even though it's not a bad price for him, it's just I
Mm.
mean it's a complete wash of a matchup pretty much. Um, the next point guard we have in the yes category 6,800 Lonzo Ball. They're going up against the Thunder. While the Thunder have some guys they could throw at them, there's going to be a lot of other priorities on the floor with mismatches. So Ball could be an interesting matchup.
Could be. I actually have Ball in my no category. I think Shea's going to be on him a lot of the game. When he's not, I think Dort might guard him. So I just don't like the matchup for Ball at all.
It is kind of a tough one. I think you're going to see definitely a lot of assists, which is Ball's game anyway.
Right, right.
So yeah, a lot of it. I mean, the connection with Zion that he has is real. But while I have him in my yes category, I'm also probably not going to have him in any lineup. So there's that. Um, George Hill is the next one. I got 5,500 on the yes list. Again, he's on my yes list, but it's a good value play on a day where you don't need value plays at that position. So
Right. I didn't have George Hill. I had him in my no. It's 5,500 for George Hill. I don't know. I know he's had a good start to the season, but I'm not really going to pay that.
yeah, the thing with George Hill is he's only playing like 25 minutes a game. So while he's put up
Right.
good fantasy stats, I don't think it's all that sustainable.
Right.
Um, so yeah, well George Hill starts.
He starts.
So who's he going to cover out? He's on the Thunder, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Who's he going to cover? Who's he going to guard?
Does George Hill start? I don't even know if George Hill starts.
He's got to.
Yeah, I think he does.
So he must start at the one.
Yeah, I think he does. Or the two. I think.
So I guess he could cover Bledsoe.
Yeah, he's going to cover Bledsoe.
Okay.
Yeah, he's covering Bledsoe.
Yeah. Still, again, I'm probably not gonna play George Hill much at all this year until he falls way further down in price. I mean, it's a decent play, I guess, but it's just nothing I'm interested in anyway. I've switched back and forth on this guy, but the next guy that is going to be on my yes list is Elfrid Payton, 5,200.
I have Elfrid Payton on my yes list too. The thing with this is we talked about how this game we think is going to be a blowout, but the Knicks, all their guards are hurt. All of them. Emmanuel Quickly's hurt. Austin Rivers is hurt. Frank Nicolina's hurt. Dennis Smith is hurt. Alec Burks is hurt. I mean, they don't have anybody. So while this game could be a blowout, Peyton's still going to play like 35, 36.
Peyton's really not a player you protect in a blowout situation anyway. He's just going to run his minutes. So he could put up stats. I mean, this isn't the type of game where he could like overpower his matchups with his height, which is his strong suit, but at the same time, he's going to be out there all damn day. So maybe he'll get some matchups up against that Matt Thomas or whatever.
Yeah, he might.
And he might be more of a second half show out. So I ended up putting him in a couple lineups, actually both of my lineups that I've put in so far, when I didn't even like them, but it was just because I could afford them. And,
You had a good second half the other day, too.
Mr. Second Half.
Yeah.
We got a couple other things written down. Cameron Payne, 4,700 for the Suns. He's been getting a lot of run off the bench. This is a pretty good value play today.
Yeah, especially going up against Clarkson, who doesn't play any defense. I like that play
Right.
I like that play going both ways. Payne and Clarkson going up against each other.
Agreed. Final thing have written down. It's not going to be a factor. Like I start with point guards when I start writing my list, so that's why. Like as I was going, like if I'd have known the whole slate, Ball and George Hill might actually have been on the no. Just after I finally seen everything. This guy probably same thing, like 3,500 for I don't even know who Jay Harper is for the Knicks, but they had 35 guards out.
Yeah,
like on a day like yesterday, that might have been like important information. Today, it's not. So
right. There's just too many. There's too many lower guys that are in your
shooting guard
4 to 5. 5,500 range that are going to be great value plays. So.
You don't have to go off the beaten path. Okay, shooting guard, yes list. Well, I guess we'll start with the no because the top player of the day, price wise on FanDuel, 11,500 is James Harden.
You could give me 100 matchups today, 100 fantasy lineups, and I wouldn't put James Harden in a single one. I just have no clue what that team's going to look like tonight. I don't I don't really want to touch anybody from that game. I put Wall in something, and I might yeah, later on we'll talk about. You got like some weird matchups with Christian Wood and Boogie Cousins, but Harden, you know his production no matter what's going to decrease here, and now you're talking 11.5. He's the highest guy on the day. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, he was moderately engaged in the first two games of the season. I mean, the first one against the Blazers was a close game. So he was like into that one. And then the next one, his fantasy stats went down a little bit. I don't think we even watched the game. So, I mean, I couldn't tell you how like real engaged he was. But now with John Wall back, he's not going to be handling the ball the whole time. And I think if James Harden doesn't have the ball in his hands the whole time, I don't see how he's going to be like really locked in.
No, I wouldn't even be surprised if he plays less than 30 minutes tonight. Honestly,
Yeah,
kind of try to phase him out and get those other guys going.
right. And honestly, Fox might be guarding him on defense
Right.
potentially and like really harassing him. So, uh, yeah, I don't like the Harden play
Mm.
either. Next up, 8,400 Shea Gilgis. Um, not a play I like today.
No, I don't like Shea either. Just too many wing defenders, and I don't know. I mean, like the Pelicans, they're like we talked about before. They have good individual defenders. They just play terrible team defense.
Hmm.
But I think Shea's gonna have to do too much on offense to even try to keep that game competitive. So I don't think he's, even though he is a very very good defender. I think that it's kind of going to affect both sides of his game because he's going to feel like he has to do everything on offense and everything on defense today just because of the matchup.
Right.
So I don't like that play.
And there's money to be spent on other positions, and there's enough value in the shooting guard that I don't feel like today's a day where you really have to pay 8,400 for Shea. That's a bit pricey for him, even with as much as he does for that team.
Mm.
Next up, you got Donovan Mitchell, 7,900. That's in my yes list.
I also have that on my yes list. It's tricky because Mitchell and Booker, neither one of them have been worth any bit of what they've been so far this year. They're playing each other today. So I think one of them is going to have a good game today. Mitchell is a little bit better defensively than Booker. Neither one of them's that great. The Jazz overall are better defensively than the Suns, and they're at home. I think the Jazz are going to win the game. So I think Mitchell has a good game today.
I think so too. I mean, he's been a little underwhelming, but for 7,900, I think
It's not
he's gone
bad.
over 30 every time at least for fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean it's
You
just
know,
one of those things that we talked about. Like I don't know, I don't want to pay 7,900 for somebody that is going to get me 35 points every game, where I could get 30 for somebody that's 4,000.
right?
But on a
It's all
day,
slate dependent.
yeah.
So
So like on a day like today, where you don't have, if you had today your Doncic and your Giannis and your Durant and your LeBron and your Davis and stuff, I probably wouldn't touch Donovan Mitchell. But being that you are going to have the money to pay for him, Donovan Mitchell could potentially get you over 50 fantasy points.
right,
So I like that play today.
right. I do same thing. Van Vliet 7,200. Like we said, we think the game's going to be a blowout, but Van Vliet's a sheet stuffer. That's all he cares about is stats. That's all he does. So I think even if he only plays a half, he probably goes over 30 fantasy points. And
Mm. I think Van Vliet is the second best player on the slate today, but I don't think he's going to play enough minutes. So I like him a lot still, but I think he's going to be in that 35 to 40 range. Whereas if he were to play, because we think that game's going to be a blowout, I mean, I think legitimately, if Van Vliet played 40 minutes today, I think he could get you 75 fantasy points. I mean, this it's just they don't have anybody at all to cover him. So, but yeah, so Van Vliet is a great play today, even with a potentially reduced minutes. And hey, if that game does end up being close, it's going to be even better.
it's kind of a day where you're going to have the money to spend it in some lineups. So,
Right.
um, moving on, Booker was 7,500, just above Van Vliet. We already kind of covered it. Don't like the play.
Mm.
Devin Booker, that Suns offense just it isn't right yet. They're not clicking together. So
And especially because you can even switch Conley off to him a little bit too if Mitchell isn't doing great on him. And I mean, it's just not a good
I mean,
matchup for him.
it's what the Jazz do. They play defense. I mean,
Yeah.
they have, even when Ingles is in the game off the bench, he could guard Booker.
Right.
They have unlimited matchups. There's not a real chemistry, and it's funny to say because the last game we watched was the Pelicans game and they won by like 30.
Yeah.
But it was clear to see that it's that the team's extremely talented, so they could beat teams that aren't as good as them. But when they're going up against a team like the Jazz, who really their core pieces have been together for like 5 years now, or more,
Yeah.
so it's a well-oiled playoff machine. So a team with chemistry problems going up against them, I don't think Booker has a good game. I don't think the Suns have a very good game in general, personally. Next up on the list, you got Dort at 5,600, Healed at 5,400. I don't like either one of them at that price.
I don't like Healed. I did have Dort in my yes category. I think he could be a factor. They're going to need points coming from somewhere. He might grab you a couple steals. While that New Orleans team is talented offensively, they do turn the ball over a bit. So I do like Dort today. Probably not somebody that I'm going to put in many lineups, but somebody that if it looked like I was coming down and I needed a shooting guard and I had 5,600, I probably would play Dort.
Dort's the guy that I'm not going to pay over 5,000 for. They keep trying to cram that down the throat this year. I mean, I just seen too many games with him last year in those playoffs, and I understand he had to. He had to take the shots and stuff. But I mean, he just is not a good scorer. He's a great defender, a great piece,
Right.
but 5,600 and is so spotty offensively. But a very important piece of that team. I love him. But yeah, no Healed for us. Next up, we have Halliburton for Sacramento, 4,900. So I think that's still underpriced for what he's doing.
He's just been kind of a do everything type player, and with Halliburton being cheaper than Healed, he's been better than Healed this year. So I do like the Halliburton play.
Another situation where Buddy Healed is going to end up going to the bench and bitching up a storm.
Yep.
And yeah, he's probably going to get traded before too long.
Yeah, he will.
I don't know emotionally how much more he could do this. So
now, if today would be Buddy Heald's birthday,
Buddy Heald,
we're gonna have to check when his birthday is.
I wish it was today.
I do too.
Oh man, I might just send him a birthday card anyway.
He deserves it,
Eric Bledsoe is 4,800. So is Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson's in the yes category. Eric Bledsoe's in the fuck no category.
Yeah. After watching Eric Bledsoe the other night, he just doesn't do anything. He just wanders around. It's just,
and like we said, that team has chemistry problems, and Eric Bledsoe, Jesus Christ, dog. Eric Bledsoe has no place really in that lineup at all.
No. He just wanders around, just kind of. I don't even really know, and he just fits into that category of good individual defenders but the team plays bad defense altogether. And Eric Bledsoe's always been a really good individual defender. And I don't know. He was just, like I said, he was just kind of wandering around the other night.
And I see this situation where Stan Van Gundy keeps inviting him over for dinners. And I think Bledsoe's going to continue to get fatter as his career goes on.
Well, Stan Van Gundy's a big spaghetti eater.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that Eric Bledsoe really ever knew what spaghetti was before meeting Stan Van Gundy. So now
that's true.
Van Gundy's got this homemade sauce and all this kind of shit.
Who do you think has more food in their facial hair tonight? Stan Van Gundy or James Harden? That's a tough one.
It's probably Harden just because he has so much more facial hair.
That's true, but imagine all those little New Year's meatballs that Van Gundy's going to...
He
eats sauerkraut. Stan Van Gundy eats sauerkraut.
He does.
He's going to have it on the side. He's probably going to have it in that mask. Like a fucking horse feedback.
Yeah. No.
Moving on. We do like Jordan Clarkson today in the matchup. Suns don't really have anybody off the bench that are really gonna be able to guard Clarkson at that position. Plus, I don't know. You just don't have to really guard Jordan Clarkson. You could kind of let him do his thing,
right? And if Clarkson gets you 18 to 20 points off the bench, which seems to be pretty, he seems to be doing pretty often, and then you get a couple. He's not Clarkson's not a guy that's going to get a lot of rebounds or assists or steals or anything like that. But if you get, I don't know, 18 points and 3 assists and a couple rebounds or whatever, it's going to be worth the 4,800 that you pay.
We got a savage battle going on behind us.
These animals are out of control.
They're all fucking stoked on it in 2020. All right, next up, you got 4,400 for Josh Hart. I actually have Josh Hart in my no category. Not that I think he's really a bad play today necessarily, but I'm just a little more stoked on the 4,100 JJ Redick play.
Same exact thing. They're both. Hart's coming off kind of a rough. Actually, they both came off kind of a rough game.
Yeah, Redick's been off for a couple games. He hasn't been right.
But I like Redick a little bit better. It's kind of tough to pick between those two sometimes. But today I do like Redick a little bit better. I probably wouldn't play either one of them though.
Yeah, I didn't end up playing them. I think for a tournament play, Redick could be a good.
Redick could be a good play, and Redick could have a really good. Actually, either one of them could have a really good game. I just don't know. Those aren't plays that I'm gonna say, oh, I don't want that guy. I'll put them in any lineup. I just think that there's enough other guys that you can feel a little bit more comfortable in.
Right, exactly. I feel the same way about it, especially like, any other day it would turn out to where I would have. We'll get to it. Reggie Bullock in my lineup at 3,600, and I'd be like, oh man, like that's okay. What can I go up to? I have $500 extra, and like, oh, JJ Redick's there. I'll take that. Any other day that would happen, but today it's not happening that way. Like I have like $1,700 extra. Like, oh, I could get up to like fucking Halliburton or something. Like it's not the day where it's working out. But JJ Redick could be a really sneaky tournament play.
It could be.
I mean, looking at that Pelicans game with the Thunder, like it's just. They should own the paint. They should own the paint between Zion and Adams. There's not much the Thunder should be able to do. So a guy like Redick, especially with two decent passing big men, actually, both of them.
Right.
They should be able to find those perimeter players a lot. So Redick could put up a lot of points in a hurry. So just a sneaky play that's out there. Under that, like one of our favorite value plays, our second favorite value play of the day, and we're going to list our favorite plays and favorite value plays at the end of videos and put them in the description from now on, just so you know. Reggie Bullock is at 3,600. That's one of our favorite value plays. It's, mostly just because of all their injuries and stuff. I mean, he already starts and he's going to have to play like 36 minutes.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty good this year. And he's been pretty good so far this year. They have nothing behind. As of right now, Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock are the only two guards even listed on their depth chart on ESPN, like their first 5 point guards or first 5 shooting guards. They're the only two there. So Bullock at 3,600, you're getting a starter. He's been starting this year already. He's been okay, and now they don't have anything behind him, so he's going to have to play a lot. So yeah, but $3,600, you can't go wrong with that.
God, good God. Also around there you have a bunch of garbage time scorers on the Raptors. Matt Thomas, Terrence Davis, DeAndre Bembry. They're all on the Raptors. They're all things you could consider. It's not a route we're going to go because, like we said, you got 3,600 Reggie Bullock who's going to start and play no matter what, really. But you do have the Thomas, Davis, Bembry. They're going to probably get some run today. It's Stanley Johnson, too, actually. I didn't write him down, but they're all probably going to get some play for that Raptors game because that's the kind of game it's going to be. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Right.
There's really no question. Moving on to small forward, the top price small forward on the day is also one of our favorite plays on the day. It's Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram's got a great matchup. They don't have anybody to guard him. You have guys that you can throw at him like Dort, Yolo, those guys that could... They're too short. They're much, much too short. Then, what are you going to do? Have Al Horford chase him around? Like, you just don't have anything to... You don't have anything to guard Ingram.
No.
So, I think he's going to have a great game today. And at 9,400, he's, a potential all-star. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I agree. Ingram. Well, they do have some wing defenders to guard him on that team. It's just... The Zion matchup's going to be so difficult for them that they're going to have to double Zion. They have no choice. So
no, yeah.
Ingram should get a lot of open looks. Ingram Ingram should have a pretty damn good game. What the fuck?
All right, so the quick break here. So I have a cat, and Mike has a dog and a cat, and then his girlfriend has a cat. So there's just savages running around all over the place. And they get in these mini battles, and then they have like main battles.
They have boss battles. This is a boss battle.
Yeah. They have all kind of different, there's all kind of different dynamics, and then like, one will play with like all of them at the same time, like one will only play with like certain ones. So it's confusing, and it's insanity. And then they always have to be around us when they have their battles too.
They're obsessed with us.
Yeah. So
all right. So moving on. After that, there's OG off of Toronto. I'm not even going to try it. Ananobi, I think
it is. Yeah,
6,500. I mean, it's another great play today to me. Even though it's going to be a blowout, he's going to get his run.
OG could potentially break the NBA record for most steals in a game today. That Knicks team turns the ball over constantly, and OG's one of the best defenders in the league. I think that's an awesome play today. I don't think you could go wrong with OG. I think the absolute floor for him today is 30, 25 to 30, ceiling getting close to 50, and now you have 6,500. Easy play for OG.
Ruby, since you want to be a part of this podcast, what's your thoughts on OG Anunoby? No? Nothing to say?
She don't give a shit.
All right. So, now the little one's throwing keys. All right. 6,200 RJ Barrett today. That's a play. If I have a lot of lineups in, he'll be in variations of lineups. It's not one I'm going to go out of my way to play, but I think it is a good play just because of the situation on the team. He's going to have to play a lot, so
it's a good situation for Barrett, definitely, for this game. I have him in my no list just because he looked like absolute hell when we watched him play.
He bounced back pretty nice.
He did. But at 6,200, when you're talking OG at 65, it's a no-brainer.
Correct.
Me, so.
Correct. After that, you got Harrison Barnes. I have him in my no category. He could have an okay game. I'm really confused on the matchups of that Houston Sacramento game. I have no idea who's going to be guarding who or what's going to be going on in that game. So like Barnes at 5,900 is not a player I want to put in because he's been having a good year and he could do a lot of things. I just don't know what the hell that game's really going to look like.
I would put Harrison Barnes in like a 25 center or something like that to try to win a ticket or some giant thing, because that, like he said, you have no idea what's going to go on in that game. So, but Harrison Barnes is enough of a creep to where somehow he could end up being like a huge beneficiary of it. So I do kind of like Harrison Barnes today. I'm not going to put him in anything that costs more than $1 to put in, but I would put him in something.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, Michael Bridges I don't like today. I don't like the matchup for him with. I mean, he's going to be doing a lot on defense, but
yeah,
also they got a lot to throw at him on defense as well the other way with the Jazz. So I'm not really big on the Bridges play or the Ingles play for those reasons. Like
same here,
it just kind of cancels each other out.
Same here. They're gonna counter each other. That's a good matchup. That would be another fun matchup to watch, but I don't want to play it in fantasy.
It's like the game I would want to watch tonight out of any of them.
Yeah. You got a lot of like similar players going at each other. Mitchell and Booker similar.
When the Suns are firing on all cylinders and their chemistry comes together, that's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, it is.
Right now, I think the Jazz are too good, but there's just too much chemistry. But after that, 4,400, Cam Johnson. I also just similar reasons as the other two.
Same here.
So Eric Gordon is 5,000. He's in my yes category. I wouldn't go out of my way to play him, but he's back for his first game of the year. He's usually a big part of that team. It's just that Rockets team. I have no idea what this is going to look like tonight.
Yeah, I have Eric Gordon in my no category. I just don't think he's going to get much run tonight. First game of the season for him, and I mean 5.0 is not a bad price.
Last year too, though he was injured for like ever, and then
he came back and played like 30 some minutes. I know that is weird. That is weird.
Iron Man Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Iron Man, Spencer Dinwiddie, do not put any electronics into your body, no mechanics. You're not going to be the Bionic Man. Just it's Dinwiddie coin will be all right. Just stick it out. You just got to get through this
Yeah,
injury.
he'll be all right. You'll be all right.
He's projecting his comeback time as like 6 months from this ACL shit.
It's because he thinks he's going to make bionic legs or something.
He's obsessed with Iron Man. He wants to create his own Iron Man suit when he's done with the NBA.
He's already made his own like cryptocurrency.
Yeah, so. I'm not sure he's not the dude that's jetpacking around LAX lately.
He might be.
It could be him. So just Spencer Dinwiddie, when you watch this, because I know you will, just take your time.
Take it, please.
Don't put any metal into your body, okay? Please. All right. Norman Powell is the last one on my small forward list. I have him on the yes, 3,800. Norman Powell's kind of due for a big Norman Powell game that he randomly has every like fifth game or so. It's a good matchup. He'll get run no matter what, blowout or not. So I like Norman Powell today.
Oh yeah, I do like that. He hasn't had a good game yet this season. He hasn't played a whole lot of minutes, but Norman Powell is a huge part. I mean, he was a huge part of that Raptors team last year. And the dude can go for, he can get you 50 fantasy points when he plays a decent amount. We saw it several times last year. So, I not that I think it's going to be at that level today, but I think Powell's going to get some more run. I think he could get you around 30 fantasy points.
I mean, if he plays in the garbage time, he could easily go up to 50.
He could. I mean, he's that type of player. He gets you stats all across the board. And, you know, and especially, I mean, he's going to get you loads of points. The dude can rebound, he can pass. So, I like that. I like Norman Powell a lot at 3,800, and honestly, I'm probably gonna if he doesn't work out today, I'm probably gonna play him next time too, and I think he's definitely due.
A ticking time bomb, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on to
power forward. The top power forward on the board, price wise, is Christian Wood. Go ahead.
I went back and forth about 700 times on Christian Wood since I woke up this morning. That was one of the first things that I looked at. I was like, ooh, I really like Christian Wood today. No, wait, I don't. Oh, those guys are coming back. I don't know if I like them or not. What the matchup's going to be. Who's going to be guarding them? Is Rashawn Holmes going to be guarding them? Is Marvin Bagley going to be guarding them? Is Harrison Barnes going to be guarding them? Is he going to play? Is he still going to play 35 minutes? Wood. So I'm kind of on the fence with Wood still.
That's what makes it tough, is because a lot of times when you do fantasy, you want to go and you want to look at your over-unders and see what games they're expecting a lot of points, because, you know, Vegas has the inside track. They know how to handicap things like that. Okay, this game's going to have a lot of points, so there should be a lot of points scored, so there should be some good fantasy options in it. Well, today, I don't even think it's close. The Bulls, but that's not in this fantasy slot. So for this fantasy slot, there's no game within 10 points of the over-under for this Rockets-Kings game.
Right.
So it's like, man, that would be a great game to attack, except for the Rockets, who just have no fucking idea what they're going to do.
No, and you know, no matter who that team has, PJ Tucker's going to play over 35 minutes.
Oh, goddamn he is. So
now you got to split the rest of those minutes. Those big man minutes, and you're adding Boogie into the situation. They could even run small and run Eric Gordon at some 4. They've done it before. So, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, Christian Wood, not a terrible play today, but 8,800 and so many question marks. I don't think I pay it. Next up, you got Zion Williamson at 8,300. My favorite play of the day.
My favorite play of the day also. Easy. Zion's 8,300 is too cheap for him to begin with. And now you're talking who's going to guard him? Nobody. They have nobody to guard him. You're going to put
I mean, Horford's your biggest body you could put on him.
But he has to guard Steven Adams.
And he can't possibly guard
Zion. Could not guard Zion at all.
Not even in the realm. So then you go up and it's Basley. Not near enough mass, buddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's absolutely nobody. I mean, and so the game's going to start off. Maybe they're just trying single coverage with whoever. I have no idea who, man to man. And Zion's going to get a lot of points. And then as the game goes on, he's still going to get a lot of rebounds, probably a lot of assists.
Right.
So Zion's a great play today.
Zion's play today, when you consider his price and you consider his the matchup and everything, it's my favorite play of the season so far.
Same here, probably. Same here, probably. And I think another thing about that, coming up, your next player is Julius Randle at 8,000. I think with what Randle's been doing this year, I mean, he had a triple-double last game.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are going to kind of splurge for Randle over Zion.
they could.
And just looking at, like, oh, the Knicks have nobody. Somebody's going to have to do something. Randle's Mr. Everything. And I think it's a terrible matchup for Julius Randle today. And he's not going to play a lot of minutes. So knowing that, it just makes Zion all that much better. Zion might be a popular play, but I don't think it'll be over 50%.
I think
Randle's going to take a cut.
I think he will.
And Christian Wood.
Right. And I don't like Randall today. I mean, Toronto's got all kind of stuff to guard him.
OG can guard him. Siakam can guard him. Even Boucher's quick enough to guard him.
Yeah, you have all kind of stuff. And really, Randall's not the type that's really going to play in a blowout because the Knicks, while they have no guards whatsoever, they do have big men that can play in a blowout. And so
Randall's the only guy you're paying money for.
Right,
so
right.
You got to protect anybody.
If it is a blowout, Randall doesn't play. If it's not a blowout, I mean, he's still going to play, but they have too much to guard him. I hate that play. I hate the Randall play.
I don't like the Randall play at all. Siakam 7,400. That's a fine play to me. It's not something I'd go out of my way to play today. Again, blowout. So Siakam could put up a lot of stats in that amount of time. If you want to play him, fine. It's not a route I'm going to go probably.
Yeah, Siakam's one of my favorite plays today. If I didn't think that game was going to be a blowout, being that I think he's only going to play 25 minutes today. Not in love with the play. 7,400 isn't a bad price for him, so it's still not a bad play, but I'm not going to play him.
Agreed. Bagley, Bogdanovich, all in my no category.
Same here.
So
I don't like anything.
They haven't figured out in Sacramento what they're doing with Bagley yet, really. I mean, he was doing fine the other day, and then they just didn't play him for a while. It's really confusing what they got going on there. Bogdanovich really hasn't found his footing yet with the Jazz fully. I mean, he had an okay game last time as the game went on, so I think Bogdanovich will be a good play, especially if he stays that cheap moving forward. But yeah. I think he's got to really figure his game out there, just coming back off that injury. Bagley, just terrible matchups.
Yeah.
So I'm not liking that one. Jay Crowder is one of my favorite value plays of the day, though.
Jay Crowder at 4,400 I'm going to play 10 times out of 10. Jay Crowder's, he's a starter. He's a good overall player. He's another one of those guys that he can pass, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can play defense. And when you're talking, 44, and when we were watching the game the other day, they were passing out to him. He was like
he's a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah,
but he's also a 3-and-D guy that rebounds.
Yeah,
and can pass.
Yeah, he was like their main focus for a while.
Yeah. CP3 and Crowder seem to have a really good chemistry.
They do,
and Bridges.
Do. Yeah,
so they do seem to have that going. And Crowder's going to be on the court 35 plus minutes every single game because he's one of the best defenders in the game at any moment.
Right.
So you can never go wrong with Crowder at that price. Moving on to center, yes category, highest center on the game on the day is Rudy Gobert, and I don't even know if I'm going to work it into a lineup, but I do like the play like a lot.
I like the Gobert play. Gobert, if I remember correctly, we were kind of talking about it before this, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I remember that Gobert usually owns Ayton in these matchups. So we'll see how it goes today, but I do like the matchup for Gobert. Like he said, I'm not sure if I'm going to end up with him in anything, but if I have the money to go higher on center, Gobert's a good play.
We could really condense this whole position, the whole center position to this. Ayton, no. Horford, no. Okay, no need to play those guys. Ayton, like we said, the matchup's not good for him. Horford, absolutely not. Not today. I mean, he could get some shots off and stuff, but that whole game's a shit show to me.
It is. He's going to I mean, he has a good matchup against Adams. He's going to stretch the floor against Adams. So it's not a bad matchup. He's just not going to get any rebounds, though. And, I mean, if Al Horford gets you 15 points, 4 rebounds, I mean, that's only 20 fantasy points.
Right.
He might get you he's not going to get blocks or steals or anything. So
he's
kind of I don't dislike him as much as you do, but he's kind of in my I may put him in one, but I may not. I don't know.
So here's the reason Al Horford's an absolutely no for me. 5,400. Okay, so 5,900, you have Boucher, who's going to play that entire game and has, Mitchell Robinson's a fine. I mean, he's a great rim protector. He's not a great on ball defender, but he's a great rim protector. So Boucher could do some damage there, and he's going to get a lot of run even in a blowout because he's young. Steven Adams, 5,400. Rashawn Holmes, 5,300.
Right.
Mitchell Robinson on the other side of that matchup, 5,200. So while Al Horford, 5,400 is fine, there's a lot of guys right around that same price or even cheaper that have better matchups and could do more things statistically.
There are, that's true.
So that's what kind of bumps Horford to my no category.
Boucher's an interesting one that you mentioned. He's 5,900. He's more than all those guys, which doesn't make any sense when you look at it from the base level, or top, whatever. So, he only played 6 or 7 minutes last game, but it's matchup based. He was going up against Dwight Howard and Joel Embiid, who have so much size against him. Now you're going up against some guys that he can do okay with as far as muscle and size, and then you top it off with he's fast, he's young, so he's gonna go from whatever he played last game, 6 or 7 minutes. He's probably gonna play 25 to 30 minutes,
right?
And Boucher always puts up numbers when he plays,
especially in garbage time games. Yeah. So the one we didn't mention, 6,500, Boogie Cousins. I wouldn't put him in a lot of stuff, but he could be worth throwing in a big tournament play today. You got the revenge factor against the Kings. It's his first game back after the injury. Really, I mean, it's pretty much his first game in 3 seasons, honestly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's going to be coming in off the bench. He's playing with John Wall, which those two, played together in college. They've always wanted to play together in the NBA. I think they're going to be pretty stoked about it.
He's going to be really, really hyped up on this game. I just don't know that I'm not going to pay 6,500 for somebody who might only play 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really stupid play for the price.
It is. It is.
But I'm going to have it in at least one tournament.
If they didn't have a coach for this game at all and you could just do whatever you wanted, and Cousins would probably want to play 48 minutes, and he would probably have 30 points and 20 rebounds. I just don't think he's going to play that
Let me
much.
ask you something. If you're Steven Silas and you're on the sidelines, and here comes Boogie Cousins, he says, "Put me in the fucking game."
Yeah, just let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it's fucking Boogie Cousins, and it's terrifying. So, 6,500. It's kind of if you're going to pay up for center, you got to get to Gobert. But one big tournament play, I will have Cousins in because it's just that kind of game for him where he could make some noise. So
maybe who was I talking about that I wanted to put in? I was just talking about somebody earlier that I wanted to put into something, but I would go no more than a 25 center on. We'll put Boogie in with that.
I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember who that was, but yeah, whoever it was, we'll figure it out.
We'll watch it back and figure it out. There's just so much.
That was Harrison Barnes. Barnes.
Yeah, Harrison.
Because I said he was creepy.
That's cute together.
Yeah, that is cute together. We said because I said he was creepy enough to somehow that whole mess of that game to come out as the leading scorer.
That game's going to be as much insanity as this room is right now.
I know.
All right, so our top plays on the day to condense everything, 1 through 5 in order. We have Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, De'Aaron Fox, Donovan Mitchell, and Fred VanVleet. And then the value plays?
Value plays, number 1 is Jay Crowder, 2 is Reggie Bullock, 3 Norman Powell, 4 is Halliburton, and 5 is Clarkson. So
that's
looking. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting day. I like today a lot more than I liked yesterday. Yesterday, I kind of talked myself into liking a lot of the stuff, and it turned out that while we were right on a lot of stuff, we didn't win much because of the Doncic, like we were talking about. So
it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, I do like today as well. So there's a lot to work with. Hopefully, we were able to help you out some, and we'll be back shortly with our against the spread picks. So thanks for listening.